Everything in this video can be found on a public domain, and the full disclaimers down below.
Hey, welcome to the Danger Zone. It's Ashley. I wish you lots of love and many blessings. I want to say thank you to Peter and Ann and Nikki and Linda K from Sham's site for your sweet message. Thank y'all. So I typically do not have Apple Plus TV, but I went ahead and got it because, I'm nosy. And I've watched 2 of the episodes so far, and we're going to talk about them real fast. Really fast, though. I wanted to show you guys this picture. A friend of mine sent it to me. It's Joshua Silverstein posing for Black Lives Matter. This is the guy that claimed he and Megan both were 13 the summer they shared their first kiss. He's 44 now. That's what we talked about a couple videos ago. Weird how they're all intertwined in this mess. So the opening of the first episode, Harry and Oprah were talking about how horrible everybody, including them, have had it this last year. Their point was, no matter who you are, where you're from, what your financial background is, we've all been through this together. That right there proves to me that they're totally clueless. They live by different rules than everybody else. They traveled, they didn't miss a beat. Their money still grew. They still had a roof over their head. They still had the ability to purchase a 16-bathroom mansion. I don't exactly know where they're coming from. I wonder how many people they know that have lost their jobs. I know quite a few, myself included. How many people do they know that are either teetering on the brink of homelessness or did lose their home? I'd like to know. Harry went on and on about how he suffered. His dad was very cold, not at all receptive to his pain as a child growing up, having to experience high anxiety, out and about at his royal functions. Oprah spoke about all her trauma in her past, all the sadness that she had to go through, never seeing her granny again. Oprah said early on in her childhood, she knew that females in a world of men were not safe. I'll tell you what really ticks me off about Oprah. Her past. If you know anything about her past, since she's been a billionaire, she's guilty of some nasty stuff. So how dare her talk about, females being unsafe in a world of males when she, as a female, has been one of the biggest predators I've ever researched. It's just my opinion. I have to use a filler word because of the algorithm, but Oprah did say this. If the Chester is any good, then that child won't even know he's been abused. And went on to say that the Chester makes the children feel good. Listen, I've shared my own story in the past, a long time ago on here. And I can tell you one thing for a solid fact. The Chester didn't make me feel good at all. Not before, not during, and certainly not after. What the hell is she talking about? Is that not the most foul thing you've heard? Everybody started looking at her sideways, and that's just about the time when she started taking a nosedive. So I wasn't moved by her tears. Not at all. Not her story, not her tears. Harry, of course, used his mother's death and everything she went through as a result of his anxiety and depression. And the fact that the rules are just not comforting people. They offered him no kind of help.
Everything became really hectic for me.
What you're about to hear is Harry discussing him growing up when he became a young man still in the family. Oopsie, Harry.
I was traveling all over the place because, from the family's perspective, I guess I was the person who, we need someone to go there. Nepal. Harry, you go. I was always the yes man. I was always one willing to say yes. But that yes and yes and yes, of course, yes, led to burnout. And it was like someone had taken the lid off. All of the emotions that I had suppressed for so many years suddenly came to the forefront. And I saw GPs, I saw doctors, I saw therapists, I saw alternative therapists, I saw all sorts of people. But it was meeting and being with Megan.
Now listen to this.
Why is that? Firstly, I had a fear of when I first went to therapy.
Don't ever play cards, Harry. You're not a good liar. You can't bluff. The moment he tells that lie, he excessively blinks. He also clenches his jaw because he's trying not to smile, and then he licks his lips.
Fear of losing.
When did you start therapy?
Harry must have been one of those kids that got in trouble for lying all the time, because the next lie really shows his brain is trying to keep him from lying, and he's overriding that, so to speak. Watch.
4 years ago now.
He immediately looks down, and then he comes up bright-eyed, almost robotic. He gives a matter-of-fact answer. Then he holds his head up because he wants people to feel confident in what he's saying.
4 years is kind of recent.
Yeah, but 4 years of therapy for an individual that never thought that they would ever need or do therapy that's a long time. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either. Thought that they would ever need or do therapy.
Whoever is standing to the side of him is his safe place. So I imagine it's Megan. Every time he catches himself about to lie, he looks over in that direction or down. And when he's not telling the truth, he blinks excessively. And to make himself feel confident in what he's saying, he stiffens his jaw.
That's a long time. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either.
That's a long time. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either. That's a long time. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either.
That's a long time. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either. That's a long time. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either.
He looks towards a safe spot, must be Megan, keeps that jaw stiff at the bottom, but this time he raises his eyebrows and gives a cocky smile, because he knows this is revenge.
Came to the forefront, and I saw GPs, I saw doctors, I saw therapists, I saw alternative therapists, I saw all sorts of people.
I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either.
Came to the forefront, and I saw GPs, I saw doctors, I saw therapists, I saw alternative therapists, I saw all sorts of people. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either.
Came to the forefront, and I saw GPs, I saw doctors, I saw therapists, I saw alternative therapists, I saw all sorts of people. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either. Came to the forefront, and I saw GPs, I saw doctors, I saw therapists, I saw alternative therapists, I saw all sorts of people.
I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either. But it was meeting and being with Megan.
But it was meeting and being with Megan. But it was meeting and being with Megan.
But it was meeting and being with Megan. Megan decided to share with me the suicidal thoughts and the practicalities of how she was going to end her life.
In my opinion, this right here just tells how wicked evil he is in his spirit. His eyes are smiling. He almost burst out into a full grin, rehashing this, knowing it's just a story. He doesn't even believe what he's saying.
Beyond me, after everything that happened to my mum, and
the twisted smile he gives when he talks about everything that happened to his mom.
I'm somewhat ashamed of the way that I dealt with it. And of course, because of the system that we were in and the responsibilities and the duties that we had a quick cuddle. And then we had to get changed. I had to jump in a convoy with a police escort.
But that's another lie, because if you remember back to what they said initially, she was crying, then he was crying, we were crying. And weren't they in the bed when this took place? Because he woke up to her crying, right? Does this look absolutely natural to you? It doesn't to me.
While my wife and I were in those chairs, gripping each other's hand.
What's he talking about? He took her hand long enough to help her down, and you could clearly see that little faux bump squish when she sat down. And then he yanks his hand away from her. He wasn't trying to console her. He wasn't trying to cuddle her. Not the actions of somebody that just heard some devastating stuff.
I was ashamed that it got this bad. I was ashamed to go to my family. Because to be honest with you, like a lot of other people my age can probably relate to, I know that I'm not going to get from my family what I need.
You can totally tell they're at odds. Then he says, I didn't go to my family because I knew I wouldn't get what I needed from them. Wait a minute. I thought the whole complaint was the fact that he did go to his family on several different occasions, and they shot him down. He felt unprotected, him and Megan. Another lie, y'all. Busted. He stuck his foot in his mouth all kinds of ways. In his youth, As an active royal member without Meghan even near the picture, he's seen GPs and doctors, all sorts of people, including therapists and intensive therapists. In the next breath, he says it was never encouraged or talked about. So which is it, Harry? And thank God for Meghan stepping into the picture because she saved him, y'all. Every time they open their mouth, they fail. They keep showing themselves. All of this is a scam. And we're to believe that she has children with him? Oh, I don't think so. So he's working on breaking this generational curse, where Philip and the Queen messed up Prince Charles so terribly that Charles had no clue how to be a father. So everything that Harry just missed out on, like riding bikes with his dad, he plans on doing with Archie. Here's Harry in the wagon being pulled by his daddy. Here's Harry on the back of his daddy's bicycle. He better stick with that mental health therapy. He needs a lot of it. And while he's on the therapist's couch, he might want to scoot over for this creature too. He looks just like Michael Jackson. I can't even take him seriously, but he said this. He was comparing William's statement with Harry's regarding the interview. He said they were polar opposite. Why? Because Harry's words came from the heart. How much do they pay him to keep it going? He's like worse than Meghan to keep that pot stirred. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this. Anyway, thanks for spending time with me. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you soon and we'll talk fast. Y'all stay safe and be blessed.